These big old doohickeys are notorious for being the kings of smoking equipment. Just look at this list, it's at number 1. And it's for a good reason. Anyone who's ever used one knows just how lethal a few hits can be. And I did 10 big hits living to tell the tale, baby. I was in a smoke competition with this guy that is genuinely unhinged and vile as a person, but we'll get into that. It all started in one of my stacked classrooms. I had Roderick, Adam, Roman, need I say more? But there was one unnamed mystery individual in this class as well. No one knew him, but also everybody knew of him. He'd always be dressed up extremely classily. He had this pot hat he always wore. He had those anime hoodies in his classic lightning bolt Crocs. The dude dressed so loudly despite never speaking a word once, until Roman did his talking to strangers thing and came up to the squad like, "Yo guys, I talked to the Croc guy, he seems kinda cool, I'm gonna hang out with him." But then "I'm gonna hang out with him" quickly turned into "we all hang out with him," because the three of us were just too curious to meet this guy. We had to be there. So the plans were made, of course, at Adam's magnificent property. The day had come and the boys were all dressed up head to toe for Croc Guy's arrival. As he burst through the front door, we were all pleasantly surprised to see he was still sporting that iconic look. Considering his hat, we wasted no time to get to the point. "You wanna smoke?" Sure. So we get the equipment and all tiptoe downstairs ready for smoke time. "So how often you smoke that epic, bro?" Just about every day." "Oh, alright, so you think you can do more than I can?" Well, why don't we find out, huh?" So I grab that thing, take a hit, and pass it over to him. It goes around its rotation about 3 more times before the big man Adam has to tap out. 2 more rotations and Roderick taps out. Then ultimately, once we get to the 7th hit, I look over at Croc Guy and he says to me, I can't do this anymore." So me and Roman do a celebratory dance to commemorate victory. "I feel on top of the world! We need to go to the gym!" So we go into Adam's home gym. Like I said, he's got quite the estate. And me and Roman start hitting this punching bag with no remorse for our hands. In the face of success and 7 bong rips, there was no pain to be felt. But Roman must have had some serious demons because he took it pretty far, but he's the unhinged one, so it's not unexpected of him. After we broke our actual hands, we walk back over to meet with the group downstairs. But it's important to note, as we walked back, I was walking behind Roman. We were met at a crossroad where going left would lead us downstairs, which was where everyone was, but going right would lead us to Adam's bedroom, where I could swear I heard some kind of noise from. But I had thought that everyone was still downstairs. Did they come up to Adam's room? Roman didn't hear this, so he kept walking without realizing I had stopped behind him. So I turned alone and walked towards Adam's bedroom, and as I walked in, I see the Croc Guy laying on the floor, but I didn't see anyone else. Yo, what's up?" No response. I walk closer, and I see he's passed out in a weed coma of some sort. But as my eyes wander down, I see the Croc Guy is, exposed. I'm frozen for a moment before I slowly just walk out of the room to not make a noise. "Bro, what was that? I knew we should have never hung out with the Croc dude. Oh my god, I need to tell everyone else about this right now." Once I got downstairs, I see Roderick freestyling and I freeze up again. Being as high as I was, I realized it would be pretty awkward to explain the situation to them. So alternatively, the plan was to naturally lead them into finding out themselves. But before I said anything, there was one absolutely fire bar Roderick said during his freestyle, which went along the lines of, "She didn't want to fuck me, but she should have." After that heat was spoken, I said, "Guys, let's all go upstairs." "Okay, but let's smoke more." So we do the bong rotation 3 more times before going upstairs, and I'm just hammered. I am smashed from these hits, dude. As we walk up and towards the room, Roman yells out, "Bro, we need to go to the pool. I want to see what the water looks like." So the great Croc Guy reveal was delayed while the 4 of us sit by Adam's pretty sweet indoor pool. But to be honest, because of all those extra bong rips, I kind of forgot at this point the trauma that I had seen earlier. Something had snapped inside of me just out of nowhere at this pool because I'd start talking to myself. We're going to war, boys. This is gonna be the end. What are you talking about, bro? We're in the cryopod, bro. We're freezing ourselves in the cryopod before we go to die at war on the fire planet. You're on something else right now. Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. Tell me, should I die for my family or for my country? Definitely the country, bro. Yeah, definitely. When I'm out there, I don't have a family. I just created an entire headcanon in my mind that we were these space soldiers. I don't know where it came from, but it was funny. We should leave the pool. Roman, that was a shit idea. As everyone left, I kind of lagged behind for 30 seconds or so before I got up. And because of that, I exited out of the wrong door because I'm directionally impaired. I ended up on the other side of the house in the living room. There was jazz playing, the Christmas tree was set up, dim lighting. This was the absolute peak environment to be in. So I sat down for a minute alone to take in the environment when my peace was suddenly interrupted by screaming at the other end of the house. Then I finally remembered that atrocity in Adam's bedroom that I forgot about, but I didn't bother to go over there since the situation I was in was just too good. So I just laughed about it alone from a completely different end of the house while my 3 friends just went through torture. I couldn't be bothered when I was this high and cozy. Eventually, I just kind of fell asleep and the boys handled it. I don't know what exactly they did to the croc guy, but whatever happened was surely a solution. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Listen, smoking can be fun and all, but anyone who's done it consistently knows that it can get stale. If you think about it, it probably makes sense scientifically. After you feel the same stimulus, you'll eventually grow jaded to it. But people who don't smoke almost always take the high experience in entirely new ways. So I decided to get a group of friends together that have never smoked to test this hypothesis. I don't have a lot of friends though, so it was only 2 people, so please don't comment on that. But my lucky individuals were the legend Cameron and my friend Jaime. Jaime showed up to my house first, and completely unannounced to me, he came in full Joker face paint. When I saw this, I got the feeling that this night was gonna be really funny or really scary for Cameron. I didn't know how he'd take this once he saw it high. But eventually, young Cameron pulled up, and I gave the 2 of them edibles because they didn't want to hurt their little lungs. So while we're waiting for these to hit, I really start hyping the whole thing up to these guys. Alright guys, listen, this is gonna actually change your lives. This is gonna be the best experience that you've ever had. And Jaime was like, hee, I'm the Joker. And not even 10 minutes after consumption, Cameron swore he could feel it already. That was cap though. It was all placebo at this point, but he believed it with his whole heart. It didn't help that Jaime started gaslighting him like, yeah, you definitely feel it, man. I think I'm actually starting to feel it too. Holy fuck, I'm so fucking high. So Cameron lays on the bed thinking that he's already high while Jaime just starts getting into my PC. There was very little time before Jaime just opened Steam and bought Honey Pop with my credit card. Trust me, I didn't own this game beforehand. I got a little pissed because bro really thought he was the Joker and intruded into my things, but the game didn't cost that much, so I let it slide. The only thing I hoped for is that once this gummy hit Jaime, this game didn't make him go off and do something the real Joker would never even think of doing. After 30 minutes, these gummies actually started to hit Cameron, and he explained it was like it felt like he was driving a car. Bro was laying on his back with his arms up in the air like, oh my god guys, I'm going so fast, I can't slow down. And as soon as he stood up from the bed, Jaime charged him holding a yoga ball screaming, holy fuck, there's a car coming, and launching Cameron back into the bed. Bro would not let Cameron get off the bed. Every time he tried to get up, he just got launched back to where he started. I was watching him get bullied before my very eyes, but I decided not to intervene. So after Cameron got launched a few more times, he started explaining how the impact of every crash was turning his insides into mush. He used the analogy that he felt like an orange that still had the peel intact, but the fruity inside part was smashed. This is when I decided to actually make an intervention, and I stole the yoga ball from Jaime. He was getting a little too in character with that Joker face paint. Jaime started throwing a little hissy fit and crying, so he walked away and started playing Honey Pop again. So I took the opportunity to really interview Cameron. So Big Dog, explain to me how you're feeling, Big Dog. And bro started smacking his lips lips together super loud. This was some audible lip smacking until he explained, my mouth tastes really good. Like, I feel like I don't have to eat anymore for the rest of my life because my mouth tastes so good. I'm like, damn, that's crazy, big dog. And upon further inspection, the reason that he felt this was because all the impact from that yoga ball made him bite his tongue and he was slightly bleeding. I didn't want to bring attention to all that, so my plan as the professional in this situation was to give him yummy food and hopefully he wouldn't notice the blood in his mouth. So I'm like, are any of my little boys hungry? And immediately those two go feral. Those first time munchies hit hard. So I pull up the classic McDonald's Postmates and Jaime takes my phone like, let me pick what I want. I'm the Joker, baby. Chicken nugget. I want chicken nugget. I'm on it. Let's get some of these chicken nuggets. So Jaime starts spamming the chicken nugget button and orders 50 chicken nuggets to my damn house. As an empathetic individual, I knew the long wait for the Postmates to arrive would be harrowing and brutal for these two. I decided I needed a distraction so they wouldn't complain about it taking too long, mainly Jaime. So I pulled out the iPhone projector and started playing Five Nights at Freddy's game theory lore videos because I know Jaime loves those. After not even getting a few minutes into the video, I came to the realization this was actually a terrible mistake because it started to make Jaime genuinely tweet. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the worst thing to ever happen to the series. What is Blood yapping about?
I don't know, man. I'm really hungry.
It totally has all the pieces for a dream theory to be true, but no. Is this like an issue? Like, should we stop him? I don't know if this is bad for his health. Why is the Chica toy missing its beak? I don't know, does any of that mean? And what the fuck is Juniors? Why don't people realize FNAF 3 takes place in 2015? 30 years refers to 30 years since the original murders in 1985, not 30 years since the first game. That makes no sense. Luckily, the Postmates notification cut him off and it was chicken nugget time. Let's go. So we ran downstairs, got the food, ran upstairs, but as me and Cameron got to the bedroom, we decided we needed water with the nuggets so that we didn't choke to death. Before we went back downstairs though, I decided to snap a little picture of the scene in front of me because seeing Jaime and Joker face paint playing Honey Pop with 50 chicken McNuggets was something I didn't want to forget. But unknown to us, this would quickly become a top 10 moments caught before disaster image. So we go downstairs, fill up the water in the slow refrigerator faucet and head on up. And in that short amount of time, Jaime had eaten every single one of the 50 chicken nuggets. What the fuck happened to the nuggets, dude? Oh my god, no, why? And he just stared and laughed. The worst part is he didn't even eat these nuggets because he was hungry. He ate them because he thought it would be funny if we came back and they were all gone. And considering that he ate 50 nuggets in the period of a few minutes, it didn't take long for Jaime to run to the bathroom throwing up. And honestly, he deserved it at this point. Bro has been acting a fool for hours. He deserves to feel some of the pain he inflicts on others for a change. Immediately after he finished at the toilet, he got right back to playing more Honey Pop as if nothing happened. He had a serious grind to commit to still. Cameron, on the other hand, wasn't feeling all that great after the nugget disaster. Bro was crying his eyes out and bleeding from the mouth like, I'm so hungry, bro. Is there any more food left, bro? Yeah, dude, there is. I just need to go get it from the kitchen. So I gave Cameron the iPad with Cocoa Melon while I went to order more McDonald's. Cameron immediately became demobilized and fell into the Cocoa Melon trance. But unbeknownst to him, I was about to pull a little debauchery on him because I wasn't about to pay for another McDonald's order. I went downstairs into my kitchen trying to find some good mulch for the boys to eat. I came back with a big bag of Doritos and told the lads that I got the new McDonald's Doritos, my boys. They taste so good. They're way better than the standard ones. And that was enough for him to immediately forget about what Jaime did. I tried to go up to Jaime and ask, so bro, like, how does it feel for you right now? And the only response he would say is, fuck man, I'm so fucking high, man, holy fuck. To then immediately lock back in and play more Honey Pop. I don't know why he was so locked into this game, dude. Like, he either truly wanted to play this goofy video game all night, or he was just so committed to playing a character that he wouldn't break it for a second. The only eventful moment beyond this was when Cameron dropped the iPad on his face. It seemed that at this point, the night had brought itself to a stalemate. Going back to my hypothesis, the gummies happened to turn Jaime into more of an evil person than he usually is, and it turned Cameron into a toddler. To be honest, I don't think they took it very differently as non-smokers, but also maybe I chose the worst sample group imaginable. I don't know. But anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye! I recently bought an Airbnb to stay in for 50 hours and get deviously high for the entire time period. Every 5 hours that passed, my beautiful friend Cameron would spin a giant wheel with various different challenges I would have to complete. By default, every 5 hours, I would also eat a 25 milligram edible, progressively getting higher and higher as the challenge went on. But if I failed the challenge, Cameron would force me to eat an additional 2 gummies, which, you know, would probably end up with me passed out if I failed too many. For the first 5-hour block, Cameron spun that massive wheel and got make a PowerPoint. So I eat my gummy and start thinking about what I'm going to make this PowerPoint about. I'm looking around this Airbnb room for inspiration, but there's not much to work with. But then I feast my eyes upon something great. It was one of those corny Christian house decor items, and I thought, yeah, I can work with this. I got to work tirelessly on this PowerPoint. Although those gummies started to hit halfway through, so it took me a bit longer than I anticipated, that was nothing the Lord's strength couldn't handle. After hours of endless work, I had a finished product to present to Cameron. Alright, Cameron, so this is why Jesus Christ should definitely smoke weed by Ninye. Let's be honest here, he's still a person at the end of the day, just like me and you. And I bet being the Holy Lord comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. I bet smoking weed would really help him out with that. Let's do a little activity. Let's count on our hands how many of our friends believe in the Lord's faith. Yeah, that's right, not a single one. The youth are quickly losing faith, but smoking weed will make Jesus way cooler and way more relatable to younger people. Here's just a quick before and after. Jesus before he smokes weed and Jesus after he smokes weed. As you can tell, there's a big upgrade here. Without weed, he is mid. Faith will be peak again. Thank you for listening. Cameron thought my presentation was very cool and impressive. So afterwards, I didn't have to eat any extra gummies and I was free until hour 10. Something I didn't foresee is that these activities would not take nearly as long as the 5-hour time slots between them allowed for. So I had a lot of free time. All that free time meant lots of hours on TikTok while high, which perfectly transitioned into the hour 10 challenge. I ate a gummy and Cameron spun the very giant and real wheel, and I got watch TikTok and make a top 5 list of the best ones you find. I had already been grinding TikTok for a few hours, so I knew I could make the most fire top 5 TikToks. I scrolled for a few more hours because I wanted a varied sample group of videos. After my many hours of hard labor were over, I meticulously handcrafted the perfect videos from my likes. First, I started off with a beautiful penthouse view of Cameron's favorite city in Chongqing, China, followed by this Roblox depiction of a child abduction, which I felt Cameron could relate to very well. I did a bit of a 1-2 combo here because the next video of Hezbollah is also something I imagine Cameron can relate to pretty closely. The next one was a pretty cool rock formation in Ireland, but it didn't actually matter at all because it was all set up for the grand finale TikTok of this epically laughing dog. Not gonna lie, I think that last one was the slam dunk that sealed the deal here because I had Cameron dead and I passed with flying colors. Hour 15 came, Cameron spun the wheel, and this time I had to make and drink a smoothie with all the delicious ingredients Cameron had so graciously bought me and put into the refrigerator. I had hella munchies at this point, so I was looking forward to this easy little break challenge I had gotten myself into. I opened the refrigerator and the only 2 things he had bought was cauliflower and a bottle of water. Bro, what is this? Why are these the only things? Oh, you know, it's just a little something, you know? I'm not gonna shred cauliflower and drink it with water, bro. Cameron was thinking 3 steps ahead of me because he knew I wouldn't eat this dung. He was doing a bit of what we call in the industry throwing for content. He felt I wasn't getting high enough, and if I were to fail this challenge and eat extra gummies, it would make things a little more interesting. I won't lie, it ended up working. During hour 15, I ate a total of 3 gummies because this little pitfall he had set for me. By the time hour 20 came, I was sloshed. This was the 1 hour that we didn't spin the wheel. The idea was that I had to build a pillow fort, which would really just be me making a bed to sleep in since I was 20 hours into this challenge, challenge and I had to sleep. But before I did that, I had already passed out. So when I was awoken all groggy at hour 25, Cameron had the 4 gummies I had to eat at the ready. This was the point where it was all just pain. I had to eat 100 milligrams of edibles after waking up from my shite sleep that only lasted 5 hours. Already we had to spin the wheel again, and it was a game of hide and seek where I had to hide from Cameron for a successful 30 minutes. I won't lie though, I just went into the closet with as many blankets as I could find, covered myself, and passed out. I ended up sleeping the whole time again, and to be honest, I woke up sloshed again and royally fricked from the residual hour 25 gummy load. As I awoke, Cameron came to me with an extremely devious smile and said, "Hey man, you gotta go to the kitchen. I got you something special for hour 30. Come on, big guy." So I got up feeling like I had just gotten hit by a car and waddled into the kitchen to see a big GoPuff bag. "The wheel landed on a free spot, dude, so I got a gift for you." Oh my god. After 30 long hours of suffering, I finally have something good happening to me. I'm so hungry. I don't even care what you picked me, dude. I'll eat anything. Thank you so much. I grabbed the bag in excitement, and as I opened it, the only thing it was a super suction blue 12-inch dildo. Wow, thanks, bro. Thanks for buying me this. I actually ended up finding a lot of utility out of Cameron's epic item he got me, because the suction on the bottom made for an awesome trick shot item. So I threw this thing around the house, bottle flipping it on just about every surface I could find, until I accidentally stuck it to the ceiling and it was too high for me to retrieve. The suction on this thing was supreme. It was really stuck up there. Hour 25 was actually my favorite moment. I was tasked with making a song. I didn't have any kind of experience with music production, but Cameron did. He gave me his laptop with FL Studio to make an epic song, but he didn't actually help me at all. This song ended up taking me hours of tireless work since I had no idea how to use the application, but I seriously think I found my calling here. Once I figured out the basics, I was like Kanye West in the studio. The music was flowing through my fingertips, and I made one of the most fire songs I had ever heard. But enough talking about it, I'll just play the song for you guys. For some reason, Cameron didn't like this song though, because his head is too far up his ass. So I ended up eating an extra 2 gummies, and it was off to hour 40. The wheel spun, and what was required was a battle of willpower, discipline, and heart. I had to step outside in merely my undies while it was blisteringly cold and blizzarding, and survive standing in the snow like a Joe Rogan ice bath for 5 minutes. If I were to fail this challenge, I'd have to eat a gummy for every remaining minute on the clock, so the stakes here were higher than ever. I took a moment to collect myself, as I knew this would take an incredible amount of focus. So I did that thing you do where you sit at your bedside in the morning and take in the fact that you have to live another day on this earth. Except instead of a bed, it was on a couch side, and I was preparing for war. As I initially went outside, the cold hit me hard. Instantly, I wanted to turn back. But I saw the sinister look Cameron had in his eyes. I saw how badly he wanted to feed me all those gummies, and I was determined to prove him wrong. Against all odds, I step into the snow and shock instantly spreads throughout my entire body. I'm shivering, my teeth are chattering, but more than anything, I was persevering. With every passing second, the cold became slowly more bearable and I became slowly stronger. In the midst of this intense and cold winter, I found that there was within me an invincible summer. No matter how hard the world pushed me, there was something stronger, something better, pushing me right back. After the 5 minutes were up, I walked back into the warm indoors and felt an indescribable warmth return to my body. Unfortunately, this hour's triumph was also my last. After withstanding 40 hours high, 275 total milligrams of edibles in 5 minutes in the snow, it was just too much stress for my body. I passed out for good right at the home stretch and didn't get back up to finish all 50 hours. days. While I lost the challenge, the lifelong lessons I learned throughout the excruciating pain I endured these 2 days made up for it. Maybe another day I'll have to try this again and succeed, but anyways, that's the video. Subscribe, bye! I also have a second channel now, so subscribe to this Ninye Plus. If you've ever smoked, gotten high, and then realized, wait, what am I doing with myself? You know how it feels. Being high without purpose leads to intense and heavy despair. It's a hollowness only comparable to living in Tucson, Arizona. So to help you avoid hitting that existential dread, because after all, I am one of your best friends and I look after you, I've cooked up 50 very awesome thingies you can do while high. And there's a lot of obvious things you can do, so I'm gonna rapid fire a few, such as eating delicious food, drinking water, operating vehicles on busy streets, killing, listening to music, playing video games, going to school, drawing, playing with animals, causing problems, gambling your entire bank account on Tesla shorts and losing it all in an instant, so you have to leave your anatomy class early to cope with the loss. Watching YouTube. My personal favorite thing to do while high is brain rotting myself with meaningless media consumption. And YouTube is the best place to do that. There was a day recently where I was with my boy higher than you can imagine while surfing YouTube. After sifting through a few videos, we suddenly feasted our hungry little peepers upon the most absurd YouTube brain rot we had ever seen. Losing 200,000 calories in 50 hours. This video is brain rot levels I could only dream my channel could ever achieve. Going for a walk. Going on Discord and raiding one of those servers with tons of open chats. Oh yeah. Hey, are you doing e-sex? Are you doing e-sex, bro? You little e-sex haver? What would your father say? What would the big guy say if he saw you having a little e-sex? Come on, man. Going through your entire phone contacts and calling everyone. Riding a hoverboard. Riding a bike. Learning the gritty. Kissing your friends right now. Going to the gym. Do the sus machine. Work the hip abductors, bro. Put the shame aside and do it. It feels good. Go to the cemetery. Stare at the wall and try and figure out what color it is. Just spin as fast as you possibly can in a circle. Swim in a pool, sink to the bottom, and feel your weightless body drift around. Postmates a medium Coke from McDonald's, and make sure you choose the freestyle orange flavor. Trust me, the taste is so worth it. For the small price you have to pay, it's so worth it. Do more drugs. Make sure you come out of this different. Watch videos of kids crying on Call of Duty. Study the Quran. Play Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga for Nintendo DS. It's a personal favorite of mine. Run to the top of a parking garage. Pretend to be an NPC. Lord knows that wouldn't be hard for you. Stack every single item in your home into one big pile. Play the knife game. Listen to this song and think about your failures. Go to the gym again. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Hold a conversation with your mother. Think about how time seems to pass faster than you can realize it. And before you know, everything you cherish will be gone. Tweet at me here on Twitter. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Listen to cool sound effects. Watch the entirety of the 1-hour Wise Tree video. Learn to backflip. Shut off your residential electric grid. Run outside of your home and don't stop until you collapse. Punch a hole in your drywall. Shave your head. Invite over my friend Adam for Molly. You can reach him at the comments because he's always reading them. Start your next anabolic cycle. Remember the good times and miss her. Now for the big 5-0, the big 50, here we are. I want you to unleash the monster in your soul and go to the fucking gym. If none of these activities have tickled your fancy, I guess you just gotta be depressed and like sad, man. I'm sorry, I can only look out for you so much. That's unfortunate, but like, you know, yeah. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. This was probably the least intelligent moment of my entire life. Unintentionally getting high for 3 consecutive days. This happened back when I lived with roommates. I had one roommate that would always buy those storage jars to put his food into. Unknowing to me, he had a jar of very special gummy bears that would sit on the kitchen counter in full view from anywhere in the living room. These special gummy bears, due to the jars he would put them in, were completely unmarked and proceeded to make me become an unknowing victim to their powers for the next 3 days. So I woke up at 5 a.m. like the champion beast trailblazer I am. I got my pre-workout and went out to drink it in the living room. This was when I first laid eyes on the gummy bear jar. I thought one little bear wouldn't hurt, so I eat it, drink the pre-workout, and drive to the gym. A little bit into my workout, I'm starting to feel sloshed.
Damn, the pre-workout really hitting today. Sheesh, I feel like Charizard.
But then it starts to get worse. I'm doing these curls like 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just can't count correctly. My mind is all scattered. I started to realize something was really off when I got on the treadmill and ran 3 miles without feeling a shred of fatigue. I was just in a mental trance the entire time I ran. I go into the locker room, and while I sit here finally with a moment to myself, I realize I probably should not drive myself home. I had to wake up the boy Roman to pick me up and also bring someone else to take my car back because I felt crazy. He pulls up with Cameron and the operation is followed through.
Are you alright, man? Yeah, I just feel different, but not bad.
We get home and I've got a Zoom class to attend in about an hour. As I'm walking to my room, I pass the gummy bears and eat another one. While I wait for my class, I remember just sitting in my chair staring at my PC doing nothing like a zombie. I was trying to mentally will myself into being functional for this class, but since I ate the other gummy bear as I entered my room, it just got worse. I sat in this class just staring at myself in this little Zoom camera window. The teacher even called on me at one point, but I just kept staring. I didn't say a word. It may have been from me being so high I couldn't process what was happening, but there was not a word spoken from me. I woke up this day pretty tired from the high of yesterday, but I still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and realized the bears were edibles. I had an in-person class today to attend, so I left for that pretty early and again ate a gummy on my way out. The gummy hit as I was walking to class and I was like, God damn it, not again. What's happening to me? I keep walking to class because God picks his hardest fights for his strongest soldiers, until I realize I have no idea where I'm at. A few wrong turns had been made without me realizing it, and now I gotta figure out how to get back. I probably walk around these neighborhoods for like 30 minutes just trying to find my way back on track to get to class. But then I remember, oh yeah, I got a phone, I can use this. So I maps my way back to campus, but I had not made the calculations required to know by the time I got there, the class would be over. I walk into the lecture room that would be my class, and there's a whole different teacher in class going on that I attend thinking,
nah, this has got to be the same class. I bet this is just a substitute.
The class ends and I'm still oblivious to the fact that that was not the lecture I was meant to be in. An email pops up on my phone about my absence, and I remember replying to the email just saying not true and then walking all the way home. I had homework to do, but as I sat down to do it, I was like, yo, the teacher did not teach us this today. So I just played Elden Ring for the next 8 hours of the day. All this weed I had been consuming kind of messed up my sleep schedule because I woke up this day a good amount later than usual. So when I walked into the living room, my roommates were all awake and out there. I was like, guys, that thing keeps happening to me. I think I gotta go to the doctors today. Something's just not right with my body or something. I reach in and eat another gummy while I'm out here, but this time in full view of all my roommates. Roman's like, bro, you're really gonna eat an edible this early in the day? And just like that, all of the stars aligned in my head. I had been drugging myself on these gummy bears unintentionally for the past 3 days.
So you're telling me that those are edibles? I've been eating those every single day recently.
Then everyone just erupts to clown on me. These dudes couldn't act right. They're like, oh my fucking god, this dude's a dumbass. So I run into my room in tears and listen to Heartless by Kanye West. I hate my friends. Alright, that's the story. You know the drill. Bye. I've seen videos recently of people telling their experiences going to school high, so I thought I'd share my experience of sneaking into my high school while high. A complete Metal Gear Solid covert operation breaking into my high school after hours. It was very illegal. And just a disclaimer to anyone watching this, don't follow in my footsteps. This was a bad decision. I could have been locked up for the atrocities I committed this night.
and I can't go back, bro. This story starts on a summer afternoon of my senior year. I was at my boy's birthday party. We'll call this particular birthday boy Cameron. There was a handful of others there, but they weren't particularly important to the story, so we'll just call them anonymous individuals. The vibes were peak, and we were out grilling in the backyard, making some of the best food known to man. For Cameron's birthday, his parents got a hotel so that he could invite as many people over as he wanted, which, as you know, means the night came and so did that gas. And for Cameron's birthday, you know we all had to turn up and smoke until we forgot who we were and why we were there. People were throwing up, and at one point, I swear this guy just started playing Valorant for no reason. Shit was just happening, and it was a good time. As it got pretty late into the night, people started to wind down, but I was still feeling a little nefarious, as I do. I asked around if anyone wanted to go for a walk, but everyone was pretty gone, so this walk of mine became a solo mission. Something about Cameron's house is that he lives about a block away from the school, and I hadn't been there all summer, so I thought it would be fun to walk around the school grounds. And I won't lie, even though the neighborhood is pretty safe and it was only a short walk, being all high and alone at night was starting to get me a little paranoid. It just felt a little too quiet for me, but I think that was really just the weed talking. Also, an important note to add is that my high school is kind of set up in a weird way. There's a main building to the place and a few separate buildings for the classes, and the rest is entirely outdoors. There's no hallways, which made sneaking around the cameras pretty easy because I could just come at the building from any angle. And since I had been going here for a few years, I knew where all the cameras were located at anyways. Despite having this knowledge, my high ass decided to walk straight through the front entrance where there is a camera directly pointed at me. I walked down the center of the courtyard of the school and just tried to open the front door. I could not have been less covert. It was like I did everything in my power to be seen. I don't know why opening the front door was the first thing I did either, because breaking into the school was not my original plan. I just started wanting to get into the building. Eventually, I went over to the side entrance of the building, and for whatever reason, it was unlocked. So I walked in, and it had a very similar feeling to walking into a Toys R Us as a kid. I knew I wasn't supposed to be here, and that made it so much more fun. As I walked in, I passed right by another camera, but I really just didn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure that one is fake anyways, probably, and I made a beeline for the bathrooms. You know when you have to be in school at night for whatever reason and life just feels different in an indescribable way? It was very similar to that feeling as I stood in this bathroom. Leaving, I noticed this merch table, and I just snatched this black sweatshirt and proceeded to wear it for the rest of the night. I just stole from the school. I tried to get into some of the classrooms, but they were all locked except for the biology room, so I just went in there. It was pitch black, and I wasn't about to turn the lights on, so I had to walk around with my phone flash on, and this is when I started to hear police sirens. I went into panic mode. I looked out the window and I was making a plan to run instantly. The police had to drive past the school on the road and take 2 lefts to get into the parking lot. If I see that first left, I take the back exit and run into the forest, which should give me enough time to escape to the park and back home. I just gotta hope that they don't check the cameras and recognize my face, and then that was when I was like, oh shit. Even if I did run, I still have this sweater on. There's physical proof that somebody has been in here and they're gonna know it's missing, check the cameras and find me, and I can't go back to jail, bro. And then the police didn't take the turn and I was chilling, but I was still on my toes. I did a little peeking around and eventually struck gold. I found the crate that had all the Chromebooks and MacBooks, as well as another backpack filled with them. It took every fiber in my body to not steal this laptop, but I decided to put it back so that I didn't face jail time because I just can't go back, bro. There was probably like $500,000 of equipment that I could have just stolen in that room, which is crazy. And I wanted to take something, so I just snatched this little 3D printed astronaut, and I actually still have it with me now. I left the classroom and tried a few other buildings, but they were all locked, and I was getting a little sussed out at this point until one door opened, and that door was none other than the front office of this school. I could have gone onto the laptops and changed my grades. I could have set myself up for a future in there. They even had more MacBooks in that office too, but I left because I had been there for a while and I was just bugging out. So after a long journey, I headed home in my new sweatshirt and my little astronaut toy. I got to Cameron's house and just slept on the floor. In hindsight, I'm glad no one came with me because it probably would have made a lot more noise and for sure would have gotten us caught. And also the fact that they left so many doors unlocked is just insane to me. Criminals could have just been crawling through my school at night and I would have had no idea. They could be crawling through your school right now. Think about that. Anyways, I could have been arrested for trespassing that night, but instead I got a cool astronaut toy. I haven't gotten high in school very often, and anyone who has gotten high in school would know why. It always sounds like a good idea at first, but in practice, it can be so goddamn scary. Now, this story isn't just about me getting high, but instead the whole squad was smoking in class. And under those circumstances in mind, you know shit had to have gone down, and it did. So it was the first day back to school from summer break, and it was the morning of that day before the classes had started. As the nature of the first day of school goes, I was pissed off, and so was my boy Roderick, the same guy from the mushroom story. We were pissed we had to be back in this place, but it also was sick to see everyone I didn't see over the summer. So we were greeting everyone in the grade, catching up in the hallways, when none other than the man himself, Kevin, comes through the doors, beelines straight to the two of us and whispers in our ears, "Bro, meet me in the handicapped stall real quick. I got something to tell you." Which, may I add, is an insane way to greet someone on the first day back from summer break, but we followed him into the bathroom to see what was up. As we walked in, Kevin is standing on the toilet like he is about to give a speech to us and says, "Guys, none of the three of us want to be here. Wouldn't you guys agree?" And we nodded our heads in agreement. "Then why don't we go somewhere else?" And this guy pulls out not just one, but 3 different wax pens, and our mouths are agape. Keep in mind, I rarely smoked at this time, so to see not just one, but 3 wax pens that this dude had brought into the school was the craziest thing I had ever witnessed. I was like, no way we're smoking right here and right now. And Kevin said, "Not yet. See, I've been dreading the first day of school for a long time now. So I've thought up a way to make it a little more interesting. I want to play a game. We each carry a pen on us for the entirety of the day. Every time somebody says some dumb shit, you have to take a hit. And if you don't get caught all day, you get to keep the pen. But if you get caught, you owe me $50. In one moment, I was going about my ordinary day in school, and in the next, I'm choosing which pill I'm gonna take, and you know I took the green pill, and so did Roderick. I won't lie, the speech had us getting hyped in this bathroom stall. If anyone was in the bathroom at the time, I feel like they probably would have gotten the wrong idea. But anyways, we had to plan our day. We all brought out our schedules to see which classes we shared. I shared Spanish with Roderick, math I was with both, English I was alone for, in study hall I had the two of them again. But the bell rang and me and Roderick headed over to Spanish and departed from Kevin. As we walked into the classroom, we agreed we wouldn't sit next to each other, so if one person came down, the other wouldn't come down with them. And it would be easier to stay undercover, so we both sat in the back corners of the class. The class started and the teachers were going over the syllabus when this kid raised his hand and asked, "When we get our assignments, do you want our names in English or Spanish?" Spanish. Me and Roderick just stared at each other from across the class after that. We knew what we had to do. As soon as the teacher turned around to the whiteboard, we took a hit, but then she turned around and we just had to hold in the smoke until she turned around again. And once I did, I started coughing loud. I couldn't hold it in that long. So I crossed my arms and put my head down, and no one thought anything of it, but it was close. The class went on and we got out of that one safe, although those wax pens, if you've ever smoked them before, hit hard. So even though I only took one hit, I was already feeling it as we walked to math. We got to the class first, and as Kevin walked in, he looked so fucked up. I was like, bro, what happened to you? And all he replied with was, it was Liam, bro. And then just took a seat before I could respond. Lord have mercy on his soul. Let me tell you, math was a dreadful class to get through. Not because of the challenge. We didn't even have to smoke once during this period. It was just the munchies, bro. Lunch was the next period, and I was fiending for that school lunch. The most entertaining thing that happened to that class was that I sat across from Kevin, staring him straight on, and he just kept nodding out of existence and coming back. This guy was on another planet, and it was only 10 in the morning. Once lunch came, I spent like $20 on snacks, but they were all out of the vending machine, which was a process I did not have the patience for. Waiting for the food to come down just felt like an eternity. The squad linked up, and I tried to get more information on what happened to Kevin during first period. Can you elaborate on what happened to you earlier, bro? Liam, bro, he had to introduce himself, and he said he likes kids. He didn't realize how bad that sounded, bro. But he really said it. And to be honest, me and Roderick, we just decided to take a hit right there after hearing that out of respect for what he had gone through. Once the bell rang, I started stressing because my next class was alone. I lost my support and I had to face English class like a real stoic man. I sat down. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I do know that some kid said something that I had to smoke to. So I had to take a hit. Then the guy next to me leans over and looks into my eyes and just nods. I was sitting next to the school stoner Bradley. Bradley saw this and asked, yo, can I get one, bro? So respectfully, I handed him the pen and with no remorse for his own life proceeded to blow it straight into the air, and of course the teacher noticed and walked over. I thought it was all over for me in this moment, but he just ended up sending Bradley to the office. But the thing is that he still had my pen on him when he left. This guy, 200 IQ, outplayed me and purposefully got sent to the office so he could take the pen for himself. I don't know if that was actually his plan, but that's just what it seemed like to me. Once English ended, I walked into study hall, and this part was the hardest part of the challenge to overcome. If you've had study hall before, you know how silent the class is. So I'm trying to tell these two how I got my pen stolen, but I'm so high I cannot control how loud I'm being, and I just can't communicate what happens. I guess they both deemed that to be smokable, so they both took a hit, and as they exhaled, I couldn't help but just laugh at myself, and I laughed loudly, which alerted the teacher and got Roderick and Kevin caught. But since I got my pen stolen, I got away from it. I didn't have anything on me. They got sent to the front office, and I had to wait out the next hour of this class in an excruciating silence, just paranoid that somebody was gonna come after me. But at the end of the day, nothing happened of it, so I technically won the challenge and got to keep the pen. But since it got stolen, I really just got nothing. But I'm glad I won though, because if I had lost, I would have had to fork over $50 and a new pen. So I dodged a bullet there. So while I didn't get anything, at least I didn't lose.
Being high and alone is something I like, but you know what isn't? Addiction. And if you're watching this video, there's a 99% probability that we share the same addiction, and that's short form content. I go on these jaunts just about every non-consciously waking moment of my life. So this particular night of me being high and alone served to free me of this terrible addiction, because every time I opened short form content throughout the night, I made myself eat an extra edible in an act of hopefully stopping my addiction. But it only kinda worked. Here's what happened. Right off rip, after eating this gummy, I cleaned my entire house. I was an unstoppable force of cleanliness off these gummies. But afterward, I quickly went back to my addiction. Not YouTube Shorts, I mean gambling.
This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna open a freaking case, dude. Holy crap. Oh, alright.
But I felt that if I was to truly free myself of addiction, I probably shouldn't make exceptions. So I ate another gummy after this as well. Then I instantly opened Snapchat and went onto the shorts because I'm not very smart, which meant another one down the hatch. I had already eaten 3 gummies, so I knew I needed a foolproof strategy that would ensure I wouldn't watch any more shorts. I decided to attack the problem at its roots, which is my attention span. I needed a way to fully reset my mind, and my idea to do so was a kind of strange approach in hindsight. The plan was to sit down in an empty room and just exist with myself and my drywall. I sat there and stared at drywall with as much mental focus as I could possibly exert for as long as I could. I would start to feel my focus wavering periodically. The only thing this ended up actually accomplishing, though, was giving myself a headache, which is ironically exactly what YouTube Shorts do as well. Alright, so the drywall strat, it's not working. Maybe I just watch full-length YouTube videos instead. Maybe that will fix me. This was a worse idea than the drywall. The YouTube app did that thing where it opens into shorts, so I start watching a handful of these before realizing what I've done. I ate another edible, but to be honest, YouTube Shorts had admittedly fed me some interesting slop this time around. I was watching a big, strong, shirtless, hot man climb a boulder, which got me in a real mood to watch more men climbing rocks. I was relentless with the men rock climbing videos. I watched Olympic climbing. I watched little men climbing. I watched big men climbing. All this climbing made me want to climb myself. So I bought a membership at a climbing gym. I haven't used it yet, but eventually whenever I do, I bet it'll be pretty cool. In an attempt to feel the triumphant victory of climbing rocks, I ended up climbing onto my bed from the floor, which isn't as impressive, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then out of left field, YouTube recommendation threw a real curveball at me. Teen Titans Go movie magic. This video hit the spot like nothing before. This show is just so goated. I was watching it so involved and entranced by the funniness and bright colors. Although I was really lost in the plot here. I didn't realize this while I was high, but this is actually like 5 videos strung together into one. Somehow I still managed to follow some kind of plot despite there not being one, which is something quite impressive. But this whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about how funny Robin was. This dude has to be the best written character of the millennium. I really came to realize the delicate intricacies of his character here. The only downside of this show is that it's bright and fast and really cool. Just like everything else, it was bad for my attention span. I needed to find some other method to fix myself. I search on Google how to slow attention span and find this article. After reading it, at the end, they recommend behavior therapy, which I don't need. So the article was shit and it didn't help me at all. Considering that the other things in this article were chewing gum and drinking water, I came to realize after reading this that I'm actually doing everything perfectly and optimally for fixing my attention span, if that's really all it takes. I guess I'm just left to live in torment and evil constantly. Afterward, I went down a massive YouTube rabbit hole, so I'll just give you some of the good ones before I went bye-bye sleep time for the night. And trust me, the last one will change something in you. So I watched how to turn a Lego man into meth. Then I watched pirate videos about how to be pirates. Those ones were pretty sweet. I learned how to become the Pope. I watched this video and legitimately did not listen to one word for the entire 30 minutes. I watched for an hour about the Napoleonic Wars. I've never given a squat about history at all in my life, so I don't know why I watched this, but it was interesting. I found out how to board an airplane. Then I watched a ton of these kid gaming videos and they went so hard. But the biggest video I watched was this one. This video is something special. Anyways, subscribe. Doing acid is a wild experience that I tried to peer pressure all of my friends into doing with me. My first time was just 1 week ago when I made an epic phone call. Yo, Roman, I've got a proposal. Yeah? What's up, massive legend? We gotta take acid so I can make a video about it. Instantly, I knew Roman would be on board because he lacks impulse control. Now that I had someone on board, I could make this a thing and everyone I know would drop LSD with me. Or so I thought. Nobody else actually wanted to do acid, but I did get Cole to trips it for us in case anything went wrong. When the day comes, we all meet and we make the moves required to acquire the stuff. I call the plug like, let me get some of that good lysergic acid dithylamide, boy. We drive over, both get a tab each and drive back to my place. We thought 1 tab wouldn't hurt. This is like probably the adequate amount to do. But even for a big guy like me, this little paper messed me up. So we sit down, I put the little tab on my tongue to dissolve, but Roman just swallows the paper on some downright feral activity. We planned to play video games as we came into the trip, but didn't think anything past that. Hey bro, so what are we gonna play? I don't know. We go to the PlayStation store and we come across this game called Funny Truck. This is the exact type of game you want to play when coming into an acid trip. This game went so hard. We're playing for like 30 minutes until we start to feel the effects, and Funny Truck really starts to live up to its name. The colors are a little more vibrant, our moods are boosted, and all these jiggly little people in the truck are the funniest goddamn thing we have ever seen. We keep playing the Funny Truck game for some time until Roman hits us with the, bro, we need to play some music. He stands up to play the music, but he just stands there without moving. So I stand up too, and I'm like, shit, everything is moving. I'm gonna go get the Alexa. I go get that thing, come back, and Roman still hasn't moved. I walk over to him and just hand him the Alexa orb, and he's like, what's this? The Alexa, bro. You play the music on it. So he repeatedly says, play Drake, play Drake, play Drake. He just couldn't figure out how it worked. So Cole steps in as CEO trip sitter, figures it out, and plays Roman his Drake. When this music plays, I feel like this man is speaking directly to my soul. I had never heard Drake this sensual and beautiful in my entire life. It was like the Drake was inside me, bro. My vision starts to gain after images, and the vibe created from the combination of everything going on was just on another level. I had truly felt I was peaking in this moment. It was getting dark, and Roman was like, hey, I want to go outside. Bro, imagine how the stars would look. You boys think you can go out like this, though? I don't know. Yes, you feel up to it, bro. I know you do. Okay, I guess I do. Are you sure? Don't listen to him. Just run outside. Don't let him control you, bro. You're a free man. I was acting as an enabler this day and being a little cheeky, but it worked because Roman just leaves the house, so we follow. There was tons of stuff to do around my place. We got the playground, we got the pool, we got the hot tub, but me and Roman weren't drawn to any of that stuff. We wanted the volleyball court. We play the music and the two of us lay in the sand and look at the stars. This goes on for a long time. I won't lie. Looking at the stars on an acid trip brings a peace you don't get to feel too often. Once our time was up, we wanted that hot tub bad. Just the idea of being consumed by the warmth was enough to make us down bad. There was an issue though. We go around the gate to try and get in, but the gate was locked. I snap back into my bad influence and tell Roman, we need to jump the fence. There's no other option. He jumps the fence, then I jump the fence. And Cole is like, all right, I'll just stay out on the lookout for you guys. As we enter this hot tub, our lives change. We get onto some real homogeneous mixture type shit because the two of us just fuse into the water. It felt like there was no barrier separating our bodies from the liquid. The three of us see a car driving past and we're not gonna take any chances. So the two of us jump out of the pool, over the fence, and back to my place where the Drake and Funny Truck are still going. I'm like, guys, we're in a time loop where we have to listen to Drake forever and play Funny Truck. Honestly, that doesn't sound that bad to me, man. So the night continues in what is essentially heaven, and the three of us game on acid. We ordered food at one point, and let me say, I got ripped off so badly. I ordered a medium Coke from McDonald's with a $10 edition of Freestyle orange flavor, and it was no different than a standard Coke. Does anybody know what Freestyle orange flavor is? Anyways, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye.
I feel like everyone's first time eating edibles involves disappointment, quickly followed by a wave of high hitting like the GTA 5 train. It's just unstoppable, leaving yourself floating at the mercy of the sea of THC, just hoping you didn't get too high. It's the classic these edibles ain't shit dilemma. And in my case, my first edibles really were shit because the mixture of THC in these brownies I got were just not evenly spread throughout. I got my first edibles from this one kid I went to school with. I didn't really know the guy, but I knew Roman and he knew the guy, so I trusted the guy. He had baked his own edible brownies he was selling at school, so I decided to jump on the opportunity and I bought 3 of them for Cole, Roman, and me. We got through our day of school with the weekend ahead of us, so we decided to all assemble at Roman's place that night and eat the brownies. And if anything bad were to happen, we had Saturday and Sunday to recover from this. So it's around 6 p.m. and the 3 of us are all bunkered down in Roman's bedroom. We had prepared for the munchies, so we had boxes of Oreos, bags of Doritos, and 3 Happy Meals for the 3 of us. We got our brownies and we prepared to enter the high. Wherever this brownie takes us, we don't know. We could very well come out of this new men. Let us surrender to the high in complete acceptance. There's no fighting what's to come. So after the epic speech, we eat our brownies and we start playing Minecraft. We make a new world with the hopes that we'll make some weird stuff we can look back on when we're sober, but I won't lie, we don't end up playing the game for very long. Just about every 4 or 5 minutes, we're all like, feel anything yet? No. Nah. Damn, I hope we didn't get scammed. After 30 minutes or so pass, Cole just falls over and starts laughing. These brownies hit him hard. Almost as hard as the carbon monoxide poisoning that will be taking out Chains for Real on the 16th of October, 2023 at 4:08 a.m. The 2 of us turn around and this dude is already shredding into the Happy Meal with no remorse. Damn, that shit must have really hit. Seeing Cole act a fool had some kind of chain reaction on me because I started to feel these brownies almost right away and I started tearing into my Happy Meal with no remorse. We get our toys out and at the time McDonald's had Frozen 2 toys, so I got this man that looks like he's made out of literal shit and Cole got the same guy. These toys were also projectiles, so we're just shooting each other with the shit man and losing it. This whole time Roman is just sitting here sober as a doorknob. I mentioned how the THC wasn't spread evenly throughout the brownies. What ended up happening with that was Roman didn't get high at all, while Cole and I got a super concentrated part of the batch. So we're having a good time while Roman just has to assume the parental figure position for the night. It's unfortunate, but Roman never experiences fortune, so it is what it is. The 2 of us completely ignore Minecraft to destroy every crumb of food we have. I start getting thirsty, so I leave the room and I start walking to the kitchen. I see Roman's mom coming in my direction, so I quickly just make a turn to go into the bathroom to avoid her. When I walk into the bathroom, it feels so still. It's a little cold and there's not a sound. I stare at myself in the mirror for like 10 minutes without breaking eye contact, and I just think to myself, damn, I'm really just a guy on drugs right now. My thoughts get broken by a loud thump from outside the room. So I go out and I go back to the bedroom and I just see all the Happy Meal boxes crushed flat on the ground. Cole is just walking around talking about Don Juan, some Spanish dude that seduces women, I guess. I don't really know. I'm like, yo, what was that noise? And I don't even know what Roman said back to me because I just enter a new dimension in this moment. I don't know what it is, but I'm just hit so hard. I tune out the entire external world and get taken somewhere entirely different. I lay on the bed and just focus all my attention on the sound of the Minecraft soundtrack that's still playing on the game we abandoned. Me and the bed just become one being, and I'm like this for the rest of the night. I don't even notice it, but Cole and Roman leave the room, and apparently they went off on a walk and got chased by a dog or something. I'm not all too sure because I was gone and out for the rest of the night, but that's just what they told me. The next morning, I woke up feeling super tired, but it was also kind of a nice tired. I just felt chill. Roman was fine, but Cole's pants had an entire bottom half of the leg ripped off. I was in such a chill mindset, I didn't even bother to ask, but it seemed like those two really went through some shit. Once the night was over and I had successfully done my first edible, I look back on it glad that Roman didn't get to experience it at all, because fuck him. I've smoked, I've drank, Lord forgive me, I've even done mushrooms. But in my eyes, all of those are fairly moderate or not bad substances. But this time, doing Molly was the first time I dipped my toes into the deep end and jumped into what I would consider the dark side. And I didn't even mean to do Molly this day. So it all starts at the end of my day. I had just gotten done with a long day of work and I was winding down and, well, I'll just let this video speak for itself.
Doesn't get any better than this, brother. Got my One Piece, my Vizzy hard seltzer, and my Lego Vespa. This is gonna be a good night.
When suddenly I got a FaceTime from Adam. I picked it up and I see him with the legend Roderick. They were like, bro, you gotta come over. Roderick's in town. And I hadn't seen him all summer, so I was hype. Yeah, bro, I'll come over, but you gotta pick me up because I'm off the hard seltzer, my boy. So my goons come and get me and take me back to Adam's mansion house. I had to put the brakes on the Lego Vespa, but I had higher priorities to attend to. So we get to Adam's house, run down to the basement garage, and get into the weed Porsche. We had the weed as we entered the car, but what I didn't know was that Adam had a little something else in his current possession. He turns around and reveals 3 different pills for each of us. Boys, I have Molly if we want to try it tonight. Now, I got a bit of whiplash from this. None of the 3 of us had done Molly at all before, so this was entirely out of left field. These 2 were both on board, but I was a little hesitant. Pills are nothing to trifle with. Adam had tested them, so we knew they were safe, but I was still a little sussed out, but also interested in trying them. In classic Ninye fashion, I said yes, but I opened up the pill and only took half. Because if this was gonna kill us, at least it would kill them first, holy shit. So we popped these little guys and waited for our digestive systems to do its thing. We bumped the music and had a little chit chat. After about 15 minutes had passed, this Pop Smoke music was starting to sound a little better than usual. We were enchanted by the woo, and the 3 of us just get so much energy from this music. We step out of the Porsche and decide to experience this in the outdoors. So we go for a sunset walk around the neighborhood. As we walk around, Adam discovers that walking backwards is apparently really awesome. So the 3 of us are walking through the streets backwards, and I imagine it would be a strange cryptid thing to see as a bystander. I remember this moment was when it really started to hit these 2. Adam was staring at the sky like, bro, I'm breaking through, holy shit. It was like that video of the guy doing DMT on CSGO. As for me, I'm not really feeling all that much yet since I only took half the dosage. We get back to the place and I take the other half. For the next half an hour, these guys feel like kings, but I never reached that peak since I spread it out. So we decided to smoke on top of the Molly, and this is where I get sent to the moon and only really remember certain parts of the night. I had smoked that Yarnum pack that had me feeling like a Lovecraftian 5th dimension dimensional being. Before I know it, there's an Uber at the house. I had no memory of ordering one, and I had no idea where it was gonna take me, but I get in anyways. The drive felt like 20 seconds long, but it had to have been at least a 10-minute ride. The whole time, my consciousness is just shifting in and out, and it felt like I was teleporting down each block. We get dropped off at this trail, and despite being a place that I go pretty often, I was like, bro, where are we? It was so dark, I couldn't even see the ground I was stepping on. I just moved my feet forward and trusted that I wouldn't trip or run into anything. I remember saying, guys, I need you to look after me right now. I'm too fucked. Which was absolutely true. If I was alone out here, I would have been no better than the wild animals. I would have slept in the fields or something. It was so dark, my depth perception was all fricked up, and the trees looked like two-dimensional images. I didn't even feel like I was walking. It was like I moved in place while the world spun under my feet. The trees were coming at me. I wasn't walking towards the trees, if you know what I mean. Before I know it, I'm in another Uber going home. We get back to Adam's place, and it was somehow 4 a.m., which is just an absolutely devilish time for me. Mind you, I go to bed at like 9 p.m. on a normal day, so I passed out. I wake up at like 6 a.m. and I get a ride home on my feeble 2 hours of sleep. And you would think it's over here, but that's not the end of the story. For the rest of this day, I'm just tired and chilled out, building my Lego Vespa and watching shows on the telly. Until about 6 p.m. hits, and I get another FaceTime from Adam. Come over, bro, we got more Molly. We're taking it again. I was like, what the fuck are these people doing? They're gonna stay up for 2 days non-stop on Molly. What the fuck? So I head over to Adam's place, and he still has Roderick over there, but also my boy Kevin is partaking in this unholy day. This time I'm purely here to observe. I'm not doing it again until Adam offers me mushrooms. So you know, I won't lie, I ate a little bit, but just a little, not that much. The four of us Uber to Safeway for yummies. We walk in there looking sus as hell. I can't stop smiling. I try my hardest not to, but it's just something I couldn't do, man. I end up buying an entire box of donuts, and we Uber over to the park for a walk. We get dropped off by my boy Cameron's house, who lives by the destination, and he comes out just because he hears us outside. Just like that, my little party has grown to 5 people, and I'm handing out these donuts like I'm Mr. Beast philanthropy. From a storytelling perspective, this walk doesn't really have much to talk about. It was really just a fun and peaceful time. A late night walk out with the gang through the forest was just really nice. The entire walk, somehow, Cameron didn't catch on that the 4 of us were on drugs, which I think is really funny. Lord knows I'm not doing anything harder than Molly, especially not lean. Looking back on it, I don't think I'd do Molly again. It's just a little too intense for me. Mushrooms are where I draw the line. I'm sure a few people are gonna want to do Molly from this video, and if you really want to, I can't stop you, but if you're going to, you gotta test it like Adam did. Pills are not something you want to take risks with. All right, my 85.4% men, 12.4% females, and especially you 2.2% unspecified. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. That shit is epic as hell. Bye. Mushrooms are my favorite thing on the entirety of planet Earth, just above family, money, and my iPad. So naturally, I look back fondly to the wacky antics of my first time. But everyone's first mushroom trip has the arbitrary barrier of, how do I even get these? You have to figure out. Up until this point, I had only ever really acquired the za, so I didn't really know where to look. So I did what I do best, and I made someone else figure out my problem for me. Hey Kevin, you buck-toothed freak, I need you to get me some mushroom. I don't know if I can. 2 days after that phone call, I pull up to Kevin's house with the boss, Cole. It was gonna be both of our first times, but Cole said to me, I really want to die from this, and decided 4 grams would be a good amount for his first time, while I was only doing a measly 2. Kevin comes out of his actual woodland shack and meanders over to the whip to show us he's got that stuff. I kiss him on the lips as thanks and pull out my scale to measure
measure the grammage. Although this wasn't my brightest moment because I didn't have the right kind of scale to do this. I had brought one of those cooking scales and the thing was not nearly accurate enough to measure them Johns. Not to mention it was in broad daylight on the hood of my car, so people kept driving past us and it was real sus. So we just decided when the time came we would eyeball it. So the time did come and we did eyeball it with Adam because he wanted to join us as well. Adam and I were able to get ours down with no problem, but Cole just couldn't stomach it. So this guy puts his shrooms into a blender with just water and makes this nasty shroom water drink. But this wasn't good enough, so he put sugar into the water, which made it worse than before. Since we didn't measure the shroom dispersion correctly, there's no way to know if he really ended up drinking 4 grams or not, but I'm willing to bet that he had more than 4 because this drink sends him to another planet. Cole was where most of the content of this night came from. So let's skip 30 minutes to when they started to hit. As the high came over me, I felt like every aspect of myself was at 11. I could think sharper. I could see clearer. I felt like I could do anything. I was quite literally cracked. An immortal being living amongst the mortals. Adam was just vibing out on the couch listening to music, but Cole was on God mode with me. Considering that he ate double the mushrooms I did, I can't even imagine what he was on. Cole looks over to me and says, "I need to kill God." I didn't completely know what that meant, but I was like, yeah bro, go for it, kill him. So Cole grabs this sword he had, and I can't say what it looked like from his perspective, but I'm sure he was winning. At one point, I took my glasses off, and my vision was so bad that the blurry world without my glasses felt like a whole new place. I thought of it as a personal little pocket dimension I could enter whenever I wanted. But then Cole just yells, "Yo bro, you need to see this," from the bathroom. So I walk over and he's doing what most people tripping would consider unspeakable. He's looking at himself in the mirror. "What's up?" "Dude, look in the mirror. I swear, the wall tiles don't normally look like this, right?" So I look in the mirror and I don't see shit. "Nah, you're tripping." "Look closer, there's more details than usual." "Oh yeah, I guess I see that. It looks like writing, bro. I think it's an ancient language." This man was positively tripping balls. He starts staring at the wall trying to decipher the ancient language, but I didn't eat enough shrooms to see that, so I just walk away. Once Cole comes out, he says to me, "Bro, I just made time cease to exist. There's no more future or past. Time is no longer linear, bro. And next, I'm gonna create the universe from scratch." So he lays down, shuts his eyes, and starts creating the universe in his mind. I sit down with Adam like, "So what have you been up to, bro?" "Oh, I'm just listening to music." Then Cole walks over again and has more to say. His ass has more to say. "Guys, I don't know if the universe is worth creating. Life is such a beautiful thing, but at the same time, I would be causing every human atrocity. I think you need to go on a walk, dude." So the 3 of us go on a walk around the block. And let me tell you, this walk felt like the most cinematic moment of my life. As the shroom trip came to an end, I thought to myself, mushrooms are very cool. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Greening out is allegedly worse than cutting off limbs. However, despite being the massive Zahead that I am, I've never actually experienced that climax. I've had friends go through it before my very eyes and seen the absolute destruction that befalls their now forever ruined bodies. But me, I've never had it happen to me until today, when my constant push for entertaining content ended up pushing me over the edge and greening out for the first time. The night started off normal enough. I was watching Diva twerk compilations, Ice Spice full view oiled up bust down 4K, while off a few gummies as I do every night. When I had a thought come to me, I haven't left my bed in like a week. I need to get into some video material mischief right now or else I'm gonna felled off. So I took another 2 gummies and shot a text over to none other than the absolute legend Roderick himself. "Bro, I need you to come over to my house this instant, please, please, please." "Alright bro, I got you. I'll be there in a minute." Roderick pulled up instantly with his massive stature and Greek godlike appearance and was clutching none other than his epic weed in one hand and a bag of some yummies in the other. Shutting the door behind ourselves, I gave Roderick massive greetings into my humble abode, and seeing what he had brought, I knew exactly what was about to go down. So we sat on the couch and began to do our thing. We both ended up taking about 1 million hits each before finally finally giving it a bit of a break. And let me tell you, at this point, I was already feeling higher than something that's really tall. Now scrolling YouTube, I saw a gym motivational video pop up in my recommended. I don't usually watch these types of things, but having been reading Vagabond and practicing the way of the samurai, I was feeling strong and in need of constant self-improvement. And being as high as I was, this seemed like exactly the thing that would push me beyond my human limits. We watched the whole thing in silence, but the raw emotion was louder than anything I've ever felt. The only noise we made was at the end, where we both let out mighty roars, ready to take on any foe. Bro, I need conflict! Hey, let's bust out the push-ups, why don't we, my brother? Come on, let's just get on the floor. As soon as we stood up, I found it really hard not to stumble around and realized there was no actual way for me to do anything. Neither of us were really able to move, and even if we did, we'd probably hurt ourselves. Okay, bro, I can't actually do this. Let's just watch people work out on the TV instead. Alright, dude, but the punishment for not working out right now is that we have to smoke more weed, which I gladly accepted. And in this very moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. Bro. Oh, yeah? I have to smoke endless weed and green out for views. It's what the people want. I have to persevere for those massive YouTube numbers. Us both finding this idea very funny, Roderick and I did a few more rotations of that smoky to really send ourselves flying. Finishing up this round, we decided it would probably be best if we got one other person in here to help me keep on my mission. So we decided to hit up our boy Cameron to come over and make sure we were able to keep focused. He eventually came over, and when we opened the door for him, we were nothing more than shells of our former selves. We had smoked ourselves into mere husks of who we used to be. But I was still talking coherent enough that Cameron knew his job wasn't complete. Hey, how's it going, lads? Not good. I don't think I can handle this anymore. I might have gone over my head for this one, dude. That's alright, bro. That's why I'm here. Think of the views, dude. Let the views motivate you. Just seeing Cameron's shining smile motivated me to go a little further. I took a few more hits, but not nearly enough to green out. But I was high enough to be brain dead. After a few minutes had passed, I heard another knock at my door. My first thought I had to myself was, oh, Cameron must have gotten here, forgetting he had arrived minutes ago. When I opened the door, it was actually some missionaries that had came from the church, inviting me to a local event they were hosting. I start to panic here. I couldn't even remember that Cameron had entered my house, so I knew I couldn't communicate with the missionaries. Oh, you guys, hey, come here, come over here. My words were bullshit, but sounded convincing enough to be real. I got Cameron to the door and ran away to hide. Oh yeah, Cameron already got here. He took care of those guys for me real good. The missionary encounter had shaken me up a bit and faltered my motivation visibly. I'm struggling here, my boy. You're gonna need to do something real moving to get me any further, Cameron. Then he did something I never expected him to do in my life. In an act of true selflessness and purity, he ate his first ever edible for my sake. Now that I'm gonna be high for the first time, boys, you gotta do this. Having witnessed such a manly and awesome moment, I now knew what had to be done. I wasn't gonna let anything stop me. Not even the dizziness that was absolutely beginning to obliterate me, just like I do to Ice Spice, could stop me. I took another gummy and took one last giant rip of the bong. And just like that, it was all over. My moment had finally come. After a few minutes, I began feeling the full effects. I was getting incredibly dizzy and nauseous. Standing became a near impossible task, and just the sound of Roderick and Cameron talking felt overstimulating and overly loud to the point I couldn't handle it. Honestly, this part gets kind of a little fuzzy in my mind, but I eventually managed to get carried upstairs to my bed, now unable to even get words out of my mouth. And in this instant, I immediately knew that I was just like Drake because I was out like a light. Anyways,
Smoking alone for the first time can be a daunting task. A little inexperience can make you truly fear you'll smoke the grass wrong and end up in the shadow realm. And a part of that's true. If you never smoked alone before, you gotta understand it leaves you susceptible to your demons more than any other scenario. In Fortnite terms, running solos can really feel like you queued solo squads with the amount of demons you gotta fight off. Truthfully, I'm not one to talk though, because the first time I smoked alone, I did it out a goddamn banana. I was truly struggling back in the day. This particular instance of my first time, I think it was my 4th time ever smoking weed in my life. I came into it so inexperienced, I didn't even consider something could go wrong. It was the day after I had some boys over. We had gone questing for Zaza the night prior, and when the next day came, I had a little leftover nugget in my name. So once they all left my abode, I got a real sinister and evil idea inside of me. I got the idea to smoke it on my lonesome. The only issue, I was so new to weed, I didn't even have a method to smoke it. I went on Google and looked up homemade ways to smoke weed, and that's how the banana thing happened. Then came the second problem all low-level ZA smokers encounter, and that's masking the smell. And to be honest, I don't really have a very keen nose. My sense of smell is kind of fucking bad. But I just turned my fan on full and blew the smoke out the window. It was really the best I had. I won't lie though, the banana was goated. The banana was a little too goated because I ended up smoking way more of that razzmatazz hop skiddly do than I thought the banana was capable of. I expected some janky doohickey that hardly worked, but the banana method was truly valid. I only took like 2 to 3 hits since my tolerance was so abysmally small. But even from that, I started to see God. The chronic lung pain started to settle in immediately. It was so bad, I was praying to God, like, please Lord, free me of this pain. I didn't mean to smoke this weed. It was an accident. I really don't know how this happened. I was in recovery from this for like half an hour. I straight up thought it would never end and my high would be ruined because of it. So once I healed, I went on TikTok to rot myself from the inside out. But in my scrolling, there was one video that really stood out to me. It was specifically this one image from the video of a Lego Star Wars man. I stared at this picture for like 20 minutes, completely dumbfounded and in awe. I couldn't comprehend this Lego man, and it just didn't look right to me. So I did my research and watched the entirety of Lego Star Wars Episode 3 until precisely 12 minutes and 8 seconds into the video when I saw him. This is not the same as this, and it fucked me up. Immediately, I called Roderick like, bro, they fucking changed him, bro. What are you talking about? This Lego guy, he's not the same. They changed him. You have to come over right now, dude. I'll show you. So Roderick heads over to my house while I cannot comprehend why they changed a Lego man. He pulls up and I get the text that he's outside, and suddenly my brain does the Vine boom sound effect. Wait a minute. If I gotta go get Roderick, that means I gotta go through my house. That means I could be seen by my very own mother. I looked in the mirror to do a quick checkup, and bruh, my eyes looked like Squidward when he said, I'm all out of money. And I had no idea if I smelt or not. So I sprint downstairs as fast as I can, acquire young Roderick at the door, and take him into my room. Almost immediately, he's like, hey bro, it smells like weed in here. And my brain goes Vine boom sound effect with extra reverberation and bass boosted. Ain't no way, bro. Please say you're joking, bro. I can't have that be the truth. Nah, dude, it smells like weed. I start to panic. I don't know how potent the smell is, and I don't know if the smell had leaked out when I left my room. Now the objective has changed. It's no longer about Lego men anymore. It was about getting rid of the smell as to avoid getting a beating. I showed Roderick the banana, so he took it from me like, alright, this makes sense. The source of the smell has got to be coming from this banana. So what do we do about it? Give me a lighter. Oh, alright. And Roderick starts smoking out the banana, not before eating the whole thing. Eating that banana is just downright awful. Alright, dude. Now the source of the smell is inside of me. So as long as I don't open my mouth very much, it can't get out. Oh, wow, bro. That's genius. I didn't know you had this much intelligence. Hey, I'm not done cooking yet. We gotta get the smell out of the atmosphere now. The atmosphere? Yeah, dude, the atmosphere. Go get a vacuum. Go get a vacuum. So I run and get the vacuum, and then bro turns on the vacuum nozzle and starts attempting to suck the weed smell out of the bedroom's atmosphere. Wait. That vacuum is too loud. It's gonna bring suspicion to the noise. Oh, damn. Good thinking. And in an attempt to soundproof my bedroom, me and Roderick take my bed mattress off the frame and push it up against the door. Once we had thoroughly sucked all stench from the atmosphere, Roderick was like, all right, we gotta vacuum the floor now because the odor can trap itself in the carpet, so let's suck it out. So then we vacuumed my entire bedroom. Our soundproofing was apparently not good at all because all of a sudden my mom opens my door to see what all the noise was, and the mattress falls on Roderick. What's all this noise? Oh, you know, I'm just cleaning my room. Are you okay, dude? I think my rib punctured my lung. Okay, but we should be all good with the smell now. This was perfect because now I could show Roderick how they changed the way Lego General Grievous looks in Lego Star Wars. So I showed him the difference, and bro didn't really care. He never played Lego Star Wars, so he didn't really have any reaction. After that anticlimactic reveal, he just headed home, and I was back to being high alone. But since we had cleaned my room, I won't lie, I felt like a king. I felt like I was living in the highest echelon of society, so I took a whole shower for like 30 minutes in complete bliss. Once I was done, I got out and looked out my window to enjoy the view to see Roderick's car was still outside my house. It turns out he forgot he drove to my house and he was walking home this entire time. So I called Roman to get Roderick to take him to my house so he can take his car home. So we go through with the plan until Roderick gets back to my house and he's like, I'm high, I can't drive. So we call Adam to drive over and bring Kevin to drive Roderick's car home. In the meantime, me, Roderick, and Roman all go up to my bedroom, and as soon as Roman steps in, he's like, it smells like weed in here. Are you joking? After all the atmospheric sucking we did, it still smells like weed. So Roman did a little scouting around until he finds little bits of weed all over my bathroom counter. It turns out Roderick had just spilled them all out before eating the banana and forgot that they were out in the open. So Adam and Kevin come to my house, and as Kevin gets ready to drive Roderick back home, he realized he doesn't know how to drive a stick shift. So we need Adam now to drive Roderick's car since he doesn't know how to drive a stick shift, and they did a whole thing that I completely tuned out because I'm high and can't mentally comprehend their plan. As I'm watching them try and figure this all out, I'm just thinking, damn, if they never changed the way that Lego guy looked, none of this would be happening right now. So since I just kind of tuned this whole thing out, I decided to sneakily turn around and just walk back into my house while this chaos is transpiring outside. Even though at the heart of the cause, it was my fault, I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. And as I went into my room, I won't lie, I still smelt the weed at this point. But I couldn't really bother to care about that either. I was just so mentally fried and I was so high. I decided I would just watch funny videos on my iPhone SE until I passed out. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. Dabs are an extremely potent method of smoking that I don't even mess with or really understand. You need this little thingy-mabobber, this doohickey, a tiny ivory ball that spins around, and a whole blowtorch. I tried to watch this tutorial to understand how it worked, but I ended up more confused than I came in, so I'm not gonna try and understand how this high-level Winterhold Skyrim sorcery works. That's for the high elves to know. The only thing I know is you use a blowtorch on THC oil, and that's crazy to me. So don't look to me for information. I never made it out of pre-calculus. I just tell the funny stories. So a few years ago, I found this rando at school because my little buddy Roman has a way of locating strangers and instantly befriending them. We could call this dude, Lois, ruler of the high elves. So Roman comes up to me and he's like, yo, I met this dude named Lois in my class. You want to come over to his house with me? And I had never gone over to someone's house before meeting them, so I thought, yeah, that'd be funny, I'm down. So after school, we meet up at Lois's house and enter this nice, massive home. After we came through the door and met him, he mentioned that tonight was going to be an epic, no parents are home, we can do anything we want type of deal. So we popped off and he led us into his bedroom. As soon as we entered his room, it reeks and there's garbage everywhere. Bro's room was completely different from the rest of the house. He had clothes all over the ground and probably like food crumbs in his bed sheet. sheets. But the most bizarre thing he had was an open bag of coffee beans lying on the ground under his desk. I asked him, bro, why do you have an entire whole thing of coffee beans in your bedroom? And he explained to me how when his parents make him go to bed at night, he likes to secretly stay up and game. But when he gets too tired, he swallows the beans whole with some water because he doesn't know how to use a coffee machine. And that was the first red flag that we were in the presence of an actual sociopath. And then he wasted no time to instantly pull out the entire dab rig. So you guys ever smoked dabs? And to be honest, neither of us really even knew what dabs were at this point, but we didn't say all that. We were just like, nah. And then this kid proceeded to pull out one of those wax weed pens and a syringe. He opened up the pen, extracting out the wax with the syringe and squirting it into the dab machine. And I feel like there's no way this can be good for you. You're definitely not supposed to use pen wax for dabs. I'm sure there's some chemicals in there that would make you grow a third arm and immediately see demons all around you. But this kid just goes straight for it. He was clearly a pro at this. And then he hands it over to the two of us like it's just implied that this is normal and we'd smoke this dude's mulch weed. Either way, we did do it because we succumbed to the peer pressure that accompanied that silence. But the thing about dabs is that they hit extremely hard. So as we smoked this, me and Roman ended up getting way higher than we anticipated, way faster than we had ever been at this point. Without even a word spoken, as if this was just an average day for Lois, he started queuing up League of Legends on his laptop. That was the second red flag that we got from this kid. League of Legends has like 40-minute long games, and I wasn't about to watch this kid that I don't even know play a game I hardly know for 40 minutes while high off my first dab hit. But then he has the audacity to ask the two of us to get him a glass of water since he was getting into a game. And to this day, I literally cannot wrap my head around the situation that we had gotten ourselves into. We go to this random kid's house we don't even know, smoke his suspicious weed, and then he ignores us. And the fact that he's so casual about the whole situation makes me think that he's done this to other victims, and every time his parents go out, he just picks a new kid from school to do his bidding. So me and Roman go down to this dude's really nice kitchen and start eating all of his food while plotting and preying on his downfall. In one hand, we had a really cool house to stay in, and we could just eat all of their expensive snacks with no real repercussions. On the other, we'd have to spend the night with this strange elf person that kind of seems like he's using us. In the end, we decided to troop it out for the night because, to be honest, if we were to leave, we probably couldn't find our way home in the current state we were in. We brought up this dude's little Wawa drinky in the sippy cup and tried to make some kind of conversation with him just to see if he was going to do anything else but play League. But the way he was glued to this game, we kind of realized that this was all he was going to do. So we just walked out of the room and started exploring and pillaging all around this dude's massive house. I mean, it's not very often that you get to go through a stranger's house with no supervision and off a dab hit. And let me tell you, this exploration felt otherworldly because of it. The house could have felt way bigger than it was because we were high, but going through the hallways, the rooms just felt endless. The amount of bedrooms were ungodly in this house, and it took all of me and Roman's collective willpower to not steal their belongings. It was like getting into the loot vault in Fortnite and resisting the urge to take a golden scar. We eventually found what seemed like a family computer room, so we decided to set up camp there. We migrated back to the kitchen to get our yummy snacks and came back with a massive load of epic foods. We kind of just played random games on this dude's computer for a few hours, and the whole time this kid did not come looking for us. We set an hourly alarm to routinely check on the kid just to see what was going on with him, but he was literally just playing League all night. Multiple hours passed of this, and it got to the point where we entered ungodly hours of the night and we just wanted to go to bed. But this dude was completely unwavering in the face of the tiredness. He was gaming all night. This went on for so long, we just started to theorize this kid forgot we were in his house. But we didn't want to go to bed because it felt weird to just sleep in a stranger's bed. So we conducted a plan to sneak out of the dude's house undetected. We called our friend Adam to pick us up a few blocks down from the house, and on our way out, we stole a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos and tactically shut the front door behind us very sneakily and quietly. We got out of the house, and the next day at school, the kid didn't even mention anything or talk to us, and it was almost like he didn't even know the whole thing happened. Ever since then, I haven't smoked dabs because it was a weird experience, but anyways, subscribe. You know the drill. I get dangerously high by myself, track everything I do on my notes app, and tell the story of the actual brain-rotting activities I get up to. But this time, there's a little twist. Before I got high, I texted my boys group chat to ruin me tonight. They could call me, text me, or just send whatever heinous dung they can at any time throughout the night that would mess with me or just make a funny moment. So here's what happened. After eating my special gummies, the first thing I wrote down in my notes was watermelon with no melon. I guess I found this video so impressive, I just had to share it. Anyways, let me set a scene for you. As the gummies came into effect, the first thought I had to myself was, I want my big Oreos. So I walk myself downstairs into my dimly lit kitchen, fill my favorite coffee mug with warm milk, and start solemnly munching on these porcelain big Oreos, one intimate bite at a time. As it turns out, I only had 3 Oreos in my bag, which left me with a real problem. I got no more Oreos, but so much milk. Without thinking, I trotted up from my seat, walked over to my little tree, and poured my milk into the soil as if it was water. It took me a minute to mentally process that I had given a tree milk until it finally hit me. Wait, no. Trees can't have milk. That's my favorite tree. What have I done? In tears, I frantically search on Google, what happens if a tree drinks milk? After a long search, I learned that milk is actually good for plants. Not just milk is good, but spoiled milk is too. It's actually a good way of making bad milk useful, so that was kind of interesting. Now I'm sitting here thinking about milk. I can't fully explain the thought process behind this moment, but I brought my ass over to YouTube and searched top 10 milk. And just watch this. Why is it so loud? Why would this be the intro to top 10 milk? Anyways, the first milk was Safeway, which isn't even milk, it's a grocery store. But I used to work there, so I commented, so helpful, plus I love Safeway. This comment was a little premature though, because after giving such praise 10 seconds into the video, I decided to skip to the end to see what is the world's greatest milk. This was a terrible mistake that turned all my praise into pure unadulterated rage. They said the best milk is Borden. Are you joking? You have to be smoking crack to genuinely believe Borden is the best milk there is. So rationally, I replied to my original comment with a nasty and hateful reply. As I hit send on the comment, my messages start getting spammed with a constant influx of this deranged dog image coming in from 5 separate people. There had been an organized attack on my iPhone messages, and the dinging wouldn't stop until I got a phone call from someone with no caller ID. I pick up the phone. Hello? And this is exactly what I heard back. Is this Borden? Do I need to repent? Do I need to repent for the sins that I spoke on your milk, Borden? And before there was a reply, my phone crashed from the constant dog images that were still going through that whole time. Holy shit, I made a terrible mistake. But then, as if God's light came shining down at me in my darkest time, as I turned my phone back on, the image of the dog had changed. He was so happy now, grinning ear to ear. It was a beautiful sight. Seeing him smile back at me gave me such a sigh of relief. So I felt I'd treat myself to a little Chipotle queso. I ordered from Postmates, and the driver's name was Quentin, and I promise you, this is a detail that comes back. As I'm waiting for my Postmates, I go back on YouTube to see something that truly pissed me off. The video was called Strongest Energy Drinks Comparison, which I thought sounded pretty cool. I was interested in what the world's strongest energy drink was. I click on the video, and every single energy drink has 320 milligrams of caffeine. Like, it does not stop. The drinks just keep going, and they never change. I keep thinking to myself, oh, the next one's gotta be stronger. It's not gonna be 320 milligrams of caffeine, and it never is. I was blown away by the asinine shit this video was, so much so that I left a hate comment. And And then I got a neighborhood watch alert from the Ring app that there was a shooting nearby. This was one of the best things that had happened to me this night because it gave me a great idea. If you didn't know, the Ring app has a feature where you can create a post that gets sent out to every single person that has the app in a multiple mile wide radius. I had never done this before, but just the thought to have that much power, sending a direct message to so many people at once, seemed a little too good to be true. But I wanted to figure out if I could do it, if it was possible. First, I would have to figure out what the post was going to be. I thought back to everything that had happened to me this night. That dog with the massive grin, the Postmates driver named Quentin. Everything came together as I uploaded the dog image and gave it the title Dog Acquired and made my masterpiece. Dog alert, we found Quentin. Thank you everyone that helped look for Quentin, but you can finally stop because the search is over. Here he is, happy as ever now that he's home and safe. He must have gone on quite the adventure. I thought this post seemed pretty believable, and so did the people working for Ring, since my post made it through the auto moderation and was sent out to the public. This was a massive success. Not gonna lie, I felt pretty awesome after pulling off the Quentin scheme, so I went upstairs and ate more of my gummies. This would ultimately feed into a dark cycle though, because once I started playing Fortnite, in between every game, I would forget that I had eaten a gummy and I would go for more. I don't know how many of these I ended up having, but I had enough that I tragically forgot the Chipotle queso waiting for me at the door that the real Quentin had delivered for me so graciously. I was just like Drake off these gummies because after I ate all of them, I was out like a light. And that's the end of the story. Subscribe. Encounters with the police are always anxiety inducing, even if you're innocent. You never know if you're gonna get shot in the head on site with their guns because they're feeling a little bloodthirsty and want to kill that day. If you've ever had an encounter with the police when you've got something to hide though, when you got dirty hands and you see those lights, you go into fight or flight. It could very well be the end. Now, I had a little cop altercation recently and it had me shitting myself backwards, so I thought I'd tell the story today because it was very goddamn scary. So I'm chilling with my man Roderick and we gotta head over to my boy, we'll call him Adam. We had to go over to Adam's house because I had left a little jar of mushrooms over there the other night. I had to go over there to pick them up because he was gonna go out of town the next day. So we drove over to his place and we ended up going for a little walk while we were over there. I won't lie though, during this walk through the late night suburbs, we were partaking in some gas, some weed, some za, some goody good. You know, we went around for a bit, it was fun, but by the time we got back to his house, we wanted a little more walking. We were fiending for the walk. We decided we would drive over to the college campus and peruse around that place for a little bit. Now, I wouldn't trust myself to drive a car while high. I know people are about to say that's irresponsible, but this is Roderick driving the car we're talking about. He's high just about every waking moment of his existence. He's good. If he couldn't drive a little high, he wouldn't be able to function as a modern human. And the streets are empty past 9 p.m. where I live, so you'd be hard pressed to even find another human person. So I got my little mushrooms and I was going to put them in the glove box, but my dumbass couldn't figure out how to open it, so I decided to put it in the tunnel console. This seems like a pointless detail, but trust me, it's important. As we were driving to campus, we saw some dude getting pulled over, and then we saw another dude getting pulled over, and then we saw the police lights light up right behind us. Adam was lighting up a joint at the time, and we were also all high, so our hearts sank. But it turns out he was only pulling over the car behind us. We had seen 3 people getting pulled over in the span of like a 10-minute car drive. It was crazy. I guess they just needed to hit that quota, so they were pulling over anyone on the road. We went on our little walk, and as we were walking through the campus, we saw another person being pulled over. This was just absurd. I can guarantee these people probably did not deserve to be pulled over. There isn't that much illegal activity that happens here. As we finished the walk, we started heading to my place since I lived the closest to campus. us. But as we were driving through the last light to my place, not even a minute away from the destination, Roderick drives through a yellow and the goddamn police come after us for driving through the yellow light. It was the most clearly yellow light, bro. So we pull over and we're like, holy shit, we're fucked. We're all high and we just got pulled over. And in this moment, I remembered that we have mushrooms in the car. We are in possession of illegal drugs. And they're sitting right in the tunnel console that's broken anyways and doesn't have a top to it. So if the cop walked over, he'd just see it sitting there in the middle. So as the cop is walking over to the car, the best thing I can think of is to take the mushrooms and throw them under my seat. Imagine if I had put them in the glove compartment like I originally was going to do. He would have asked for the registration and the drugs would have just been right there. Luckily, I was a stupid, silly little guy this night and I couldn't figure out how to open it. He comes up to my window, even though I'm the passenger, and he shines this flashlight right in my face and he's like, "You ran a red, man." He asked the usual questions like, are you under the influence and do you have weapons? Roderick says no to both of these, even though he's high and has knives in his car. I don't even know why he lied about the weapons, dude. He just did. So he goes back to his car for like 20 minutes while he checks the registration, and the three of us are just sitting in silence the whole time. The air was thick. It was a loud silence. He comes back to the car and just lets us go. So we head out scared shitless. I get home and I just go to bed immediately and hit the in my bed. I don't know why the cops were so active this night, but I guess it was cool that we didn't get a ticket or caught with drugs. If you take anything from this story, I would take that you shouldn't drive through yellow lights around cops because they will use your life for a quick bag. When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half-scheme idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint. Surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the za, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, hold on, as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both. This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first. So we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter. But as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. Adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the za, we had the steak, and we had our magical, precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass.
The fabled Dream Blunt rotation is the highest echelon of za smoker achievement one can strive for. Not too long ago, there was a day when I almost had my Dream Blunt rotation become a reality. But because of one individual, that dream would quickly become the Nightmare Blunt rotation. Roman, Cameron, and Kevin, we had just moved in with each other, and this was was the housewarming party to celebrate the occasion. We had invited over a handful of people we knew, but also there were some unfamiliar faces in the mix as well. The party went smoothly. It was a good time. We had the gas, the drinks, the music. It was bussin' and goated. As the party ended and the people started to leave, there was one man named Ben who just sat there and did not leave our house. We all collectively did not know who this guy was. We don't know who he came with. We don't know how he ended up here, but he was sitting in our living room unmoving. We didn't want to tell him to get out of our house either because the four of us are all beta males, so we were like, he can stay here for a little while, I guess. But then this guy starts to turn on our PS4 without asking anyone and just creates an entirely new account for him on our system called Ben. I don't know if I would describe this as a power move, pure ignorance, or just being a weirdo, but I could not believe what I was witnessing, so I just decided I need to go outside and smoke weed. Same. Let's do it. That sounds like a good idea. So we got the after party blunt rotation outside with Ben, and we start passing this around. Once the blunt gets over to Ben, he commits a real atrocity, and not just double, but triple dips the blunt before passing it over to me. This is where Ben became a real enemy to me. But the rest of the roommates were still cutting him slack as just being some kid that probably wasn't self-aware. Boy, that was good. I'm gonna go step inside now. Man, this Ben guy really feels like a virus in our homes. I wish there was like a VPN to remove him. Well, I've got just the thing for you. This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. And with their new Christmas special, you're not gonna want to miss out on this. What? Atlas VPN Premium, you dog. It's only $1.70 a month, plus 6 months for free with a 30-day money-back guarantee at this time of the year. Wow, you are really winning me over. This is the best VPN deal in the market, and while it won't remove people from your homes, it will remove people from knowing where your home is by keeping your Google searches private and safe from malware and viruses. Oh, and doesn't it stop ads? Yeah. It also unlocks all of your favorite content from all over the world. They don't have Rick and Morty and US Netflix, but just set your location to any of these 32 wacky countries and Morty is all yours. This VPN also blocks ads and sus malware links, so it's really more than a VPN, bro. You can protect an unlimited amount of devices with one subscription and save you some money when shopping online by giving you the best deals. Have a private and safe New Year's with Atlas VPN Premium. Just $1.70 a month plus 6 months free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the video description below and grab this Christmas deal right now. So that isn't actually what I said. What I actually said was, I want to kill him. Nah, man, you're just hungry. Let's DoorDash some food. So we ordered a load of Mr. Beast burgers for the meme. And as we walked inside, Ben had created an entire new Skyrim save and was watching that cutscene with the horse in the carriage. So, you're playing Skyrim? Yep. This was the end of the line for Ben. In this moment, we knew this guy was probably gonna be staying in our house for a lot longer than we wanted, and we were all done with him. Come with me, boys. Everyone follows me into my room, and I tell them, what the fuck is this guy doing? Bro, he's gotta go, bro. He's gonna be here for hours if we don't do anything. I'll fuck him up, bro. I'll punch his teeth out. Why would we do that before just telling him to leave the house, dude? He's so brain dead. Why would he even do this shit, bro? True. Okay, so what's the best way to get him out of here without being assholes? I don't want to just tell him straight up. What if we tell him the police are coming so he runs away? Why would the police be coming? That makes no sense. True. We could make him really uncomfortable so that he leaves. I like that idea. What if we make this worse for him than it is for us? That way, he'll just want to leave. Then Roman looks at his phone and notices through our scheming, the Beast Burgers had been delivered a few minutes ago. The four of us walk out to see Ben had already brought our Mr. Beast burgers inside. Not just that, but he had eaten a burger despite us not ordering him food. Not just that, but it was my Chandler burger he was eating. So we just shut the door and go back into my room. There's no time for Beast Burger. We need to get this guy gone now. So the four of us devise a devious scheme to remove Benjamin. This wasn't about us wanting to be polite and indirectly getting the message of,
excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
This was about how we can make this guy pay for the crimes that he has committed. So the four of us get our guns and load them up. We go over to the air conditioning and turn it to the coldest possible option. Once the house was freezing, we all point our guns at him and shoot him. They were water guns, by the way. And since the house was cold, the water was very chilly. Why are you doing this? You ate my Chandler burger, bro. You gotta go home. So Ben runs out of our house to never be seen again. But the creepy part is the next morning, we texted the people we knew at the party to find out who brought him. We wanted to know who knew Ben. The thing was, nobody knew who Ben was. I guess Ben was just a random dude who saw a party and decided to walk into it, eat a Chandler burger, and play Skyrim, which honestly, with that story, I kind of respect. Thank you all for 2,000 entire subscribers. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye.
I've mentioned how getting high at school can be stressful, but getting high at work is just fucked. I mean, at school, you just have to be quiet and keep your head down and hope nobody notices. At work, you actually have to do work, so the difficulty and the risk factors are way higher in my opinion, especially if you're working in some kind of retail job, because then you got to communicate with other human beings. In my case, I served my time as an honorary Safeway employee, and the job made me want to kill myself. I swear, human beings were not built for the 9 to 5 minimum wage grind. These jobs will just suck the goddamn soul out of you like no other. If I didn't smoke at work, I would have gone bananas. Now, I've smoked a good few amount of times while at work, but there was one particular day where I got a little confident in my ability and smoked too much. I had an 8-hour shift ahead of me from 2 to 10 where I had to alternate each hour from sweeping and cleaning. The thing about these days is that they were by far the easiest days on the job, hence the overconfidence. I got to work, started smoking, and clocked in. And the beginning of my shift went pretty well. I was sweeping like a king. I was cleaning like a king. Eventually, the monotony got to me after an hour or so I smoked a little more. Almost instantly, I knew I smoked a little too much. I'd be going around to each of the store's little departments, forgetting if I had cleaned them or not. I'd be sweeping every other aisle without realizing I was. It was bad. Eventually, once I got to cleaning the bathroom, I just locked myself in there and sat on the toilet to collect my thoughts. Alright, I'm obviously way too high right now to do my job. What can I do about this? Well, I could eat food, but then I'd have to wait until my break. Or I could just sneak a little treat. I need to find a way to avoid work. I think letting time do its thing is the best play here. So I left the bathroom with this plan to finish my cleaning and then just hide in the break room until the next hour came and I had to sweep. As I was walking through the store, I walked by the bakery and those goddamn donuts were just enticing to me. I couldn't resist the urge to just take a donut, but I didn't think any further past that. So I grabbed the donut, but I couldn't eat it because people would see that I was eating the donut and stealing it. So quickly, I thought up the idea to just shove the donut into my pocket and then I would eat it once I got to the break room. I went on to do my job, but then I saw my manager approach me. Oh fuck, she knows I'm high, bro. She knows I'm high. She knows about the donut too. It's all over. I'm gonna lose my fucking job.
Excuse me, but Jared told me that you didn't clean the toilet.
When I had went into the bathroom earlier, I forgot to clean it, and this goddamn guy Jared narked me out. Oh my bad, I'll go and do that now. Then I had to go back to the bathroom and watch Jared teach me how to clean a toilet. I was just watching this man filled with real, unfiltered primal rage. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Fuck you, Jared. Afterward, I went to the break room as planned and I ate this nasty donut that had been sitting in my pocket for the past 10 minutes. But my plan to hide here was successful. Once it was time to do my sweeps, I barely swept. I won't even lie, but I finished it in like 10 minutes and then I hid in the break room for the next 50. The next time I had to go to the bathroom to clean it, I was like, I really gotta clean this toilet well or else Jared is gonna come for my ass again. So what I did next was look through the storage closet for a little literal product called elbow grease. I was too high to realize that elbow grease was not an actual thing. So I went over to Jared and I was like, hey bro, I can't find that elbow grease. And he just stared at me for like 3 seconds of silence. And then I saved it and went, I'm joking. And I just walked away. I still thought that elbow grease was a thing. I didn't put it together. I just was gonna go and clean it without the elbow grease. I ended up doing my little break room exploit for the rest of the day, and by the end of my shift, I was feeling sober. On my way home when I was driving, I realized, wait a minute. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Damn. Fuck you, Jared.